Okay, let's try this again. I've already tried this video a couple times and I haven't been able to get it so far, so let's try it again. I'm making this video as an update to my Fostech Echo issues video that I posted a couple days ago, maybe actually a couple weeks ago. Anyway, I'm just at my dorm room right now. Sorry for the bad lighting. I'm using a coat hanger as a makeshift tripod right now, so this is a pretty rough video. Anyway, so I don't actually have the trigger with me, but I received it and I got what Fostech said about the issues. So I'm just going to relay that information, even though I haven't actually felt it or seen it. I can't have the gun with me or the trigger, so I sent it home instead of here. You know, college rules. But and I'll explain why I can make this assessment without actually feeling it. Anyway, so if you want to know what problems I was having, you can go look at my other video, but I'll sum it up for you. And that was one, it looked like there was pitting on the trigger. It looked like it was in pretty bad shape, rough milling or just bad metal. Two, I was disappointed with the trigger pull weight. It seemed very, very heavy. Three, the selector switch rotated 360 degrees, so you could go from binary to safe without selecting the semi-automatic mode. So it would rotate a full 360 and then in both directions. And lastly, I was experiencing hang fire type things. So I would pull the trigger in semi-automatic mode, and it wouldn't fire. I would pull the trigger, it wouldn't fire, and then I would slap the side of the receiver, and then it would fire while I was holding down the trigger. Either that, or I would pull the trigger, nothing would happen, and then when I released it, it would fire. On semi-automatic mode, not binary mode. So I went ahead and emailed Fostech, and they cleared up two of my problems right away in an email, or clarified the problems I had with the trigger. And that was that the pitting in the metal was supposed to be there. They said it was part of their proprietary metal. And, you know, am I satisfied with that answer? Not really. I really don't like how it looks. It looks like there's pitting, especially when it's when it's on the actual trigger itself, the part that I'm feeling, because you can feel those divots in the trigger. So it really hurts your product when it's supposed to be a premium product you're spending $500 for, and I'll get to that later, how much you're spending for this. I would expect something that feels a little bit better. Secondly, the 360 degree selector switch appears, they told me that it is designed that way. It is designed that way because when I was looking at the mechanical, the milling on the selector switch, it looks like it was milled to go 360 degrees, which I don't know why they would put the extra effort into milling that, because on a standard lower receiver, you would have those bars that keep it from going 360 degrees, which might be one of the reasons why I'm experiencing this and other people aren't, because my lower receiver is a Battle Arms Development lightweight lower receiver, and it doesn't have those shelves to keep it from spinning 360. So yeah, so that's what that is, and it's designed that way. So use that as a data point, take it or leave it. If you think that's going to bother you, it kind of bothers me a little bit. So that's something to consider. So the last two issues were solved by Fostech, or addressed by Fostech once I actually got the trigger back, because they said yes, they've seen, the biggest thing they were concerned about was the hang fire type situation going on with the trigger, because that's obviously very unsafe. So they said go ahead and send it in, it shouldn't be doing that. So I went ahead and sent it in, and the reason why I thought it might be something that they would fix is because I saw someone else on YouTube had the same problem. So I sent it in, and I didn't hear anything from them, and then I got the shipping notification, and then it showed up at my parents' house, and I had them send me a photo of what they said. So first of all, what they said is they didn't run into any of the issues I was doing, or I was having, so maybe it was just a fluke, but they went ahead, which is nice of them, and they said they polished up the hammer and any parts that would have been snagging or putting pressure on the hammer, so they went ahead and polished those up, which was nice of them. So hopefully whenever I get it back, it won't be having any more of that issue. I'm fairly confident that it won't, but I'm fairly confident that it will have fixed the issue and I won't have any problems. But lastly, on the order form for repair, I put the sluggish hammer down, and then I also put heavy trigger pull weight. So the Fostech Echo trigger feels pretty terrible. I would have to say it's worse than any USGI trigger I've ever felt. Anywhere from 8 to 12 pounds is what I would guess. I don't have a trigger pull weight, a trigger, a trigger pull gauge, so I don't know for sure what the poundage is, but I can definitely tell you it's probably the worst trigger I've ever felt, on an AR-15 at least. So I was very disappointed, so that's why I put it down on the order form. I got it back, and they said, all they said was that the trigger pull was well within spec. So, in case you were wondering, within spec means 8 to 12 pounds, which is interesting because they don't list the trigger pull on their website or anywhere, what you should expect. Now, what I was really confused about was why. Why did... Because a bunch of very big YouTubers have reviewed this product. You know, you got the Military Arms channel, you got list them, all the big YouTubers were talking about the Fostech. And what was interesting was that all their videos said it had a very decent trigger pull, at least. They were like, oh, it's pretty crisp on semi-automatic. But when I got mine, it was definitely not the case. So the only thing that I can imagine happened was either, one, they've started rushing whenever that huge out of stock period happened. They were just cranking them out as fast as they can, and they took a dip in quality. Or it could be that the Fostech Echo 1s were made well, and that's the kind that all the YouTubers use, and the Fostech Echo 2s have a significantly higher trigger pull weight than the Fostech Echo 1s. So that could be the case there. So that's what I ran into, and that's what they said about that. So, you know, it's really interesting because you have to look at the value of this trigger. You know, it should be a premium product. I spent over right around $500 shipped everything on this trigger. And when you can get a Geisley for around $120, that you could get one Fostech Echo or 3 Geisley triggers. So you gotta think this is supposed to be a premium product, and it definitely doesn't feel like a premium product. You get the feature of basically a 2-round burst type effect. It's not true 2-round burst, but you know, it's just not there for $500. You could go get a Fostech, or no, not a Fostech, a Franklin Armory binary trigger for around $300, and it would have a significantly better trigger pull from what I've heard, and then you still get that binary mode. The only thing you wouldn't get is that auto sear type device that Fostech has patented. So you get the mechanical, you know, reassurance that you won't have a hammer follow. But I've seen that Franklin Armory binary triggers, at least from what I've heard, don't have significant problems getting hammer follows anymore as long as you tune them correctly with the right buffer springs that they send you. So, you know, this all kind of has a sour taste in my mouth. If I could have done it again, but which I can't because, you know, Fostech has that whole no return policy thing, which should have tipped me off in the first place. But if I could have done it again, I would have bought a Franklin Armory binary trigger, honestly. But I can't, so I'm going to make the most of what I have, and I'm going to go ahead and do that trigger spring modification. I believe on the... there's YouTube videos on it. Michael Bell has a video on the trigger spring, and it can reduce the trigger pull weight by about 3 pounds. So I'm probably going to end up doing that, installing that, and I'll let you know how it feels after that mod, and if I would still recommend it with the mod. So hopefully that will improve the trigger pull, but honestly, I have a hard time recommending this to anyone else just because of how it feels to me and how I feel the value has been transferred. You know, I don't feel like it's a premium product, and if I'm spending $500, I get that the alternative for us is going to be, you know, either a bumpfire stock, which is less than ideal and pretty gimmicky, or the other alternative is a $10,000, you know, M16 with all types of regulations. But, you know, I feel like if I'm paying this much money, where is all that money going? How much did it cost to research and develop this? I mean, come on, where is that money going? It's definitely not going in the quality of the metal, because there's been photos of the metal that they use that they've is I would say it's probably not the strongest, because there's been photos of the hammer cracking on the Fostech Echo on the internet. So I just wonder where this money is going. It's definitely not going 100% or even 50% into the product. So that's my opinion. Take it as a data point. You know, there's other people that love their Fostechs and maybe they got better versions. I did not, and Fostech said that, yep, mine's acceptable. So that's their opinion, not really my opinion. So anyway, I'll go ahead and finish this video. So I'll see you guys later.